All right, let's have a real talk, shooters. Forget the noise you're hearing about the next big political scare wiping out ammo. What's happening right now is quieter, deeper, and a whole lot more dangerous to our way of life. This isn't a flash in the pan panic buy. This is a slow, methodical strangulation of our ammunition supply chain, and it all comes down to a little known metal called antimony. This stuff is the secret sauce. It's the lifeblood that hardens lead for projectiles and makes every single primer go bang. And the price for it has shot up over 300%. Here's the kicker. Uncle Sam doesn't mine or refine a single ounce of it on American soil. Zero. Meanwhile, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is placing orders worth hundreds of billions of dollars and cutting right to the front of the line. So what happens when the very foundation of our ammunition supply is controlled by foreign powers, mainly China, who can turn off the spigot whenever they damn well please? Us regular Joes on the civilian market are now in a street fight with entire armies for the raw materials to make a simple plinking round. This isn't coming. It's already here. We're going to break down 5 legendary American cartridges that are already getting squeezed off the shelves. The 4570 Government. Let's start with the Big Thumper. The 4570 Government, once the domain of historical reenactors and grizzled old-timers, has become the new hotness thanks to the boom in modern, suppressor-ready lever guns. But that newfound fame is putting it in a real bind. This round is a hog for materials. A single 405-grain bullet swallows nearly an ounce of lead alloy, and it needs a healthy dose of that precious antimony to keep from fouling up your barrel. With antimony prices screaming past $31,000 a metric ton, the raw lead and antimony alone are tacking on north of 20 cents to every single round. You're seeing it at the cash register. Hornady's 325-grain LE Revolution, which used to be a $48.99 box, is now pushing $63.50. Buffalo Boar's heavy-duty bear loads? You're looking at $85 a box, and that's if you could track one down. To make matters worse, the 4570 needs large rifle magnum primers. The exact same primers being devoured by military contract for rounds like the 338 Norma Magnum and the 300 Winchester Magnum. For those of us who rely on this round for backcountry defense, this is a crisis. A 100-round stash that cost you $210 last year will now set you back nearly $400. If this supply chain tightens any further, your trusted thumper could become little more than a very heavy paperweight. The 3030 Winchester. The 3030 Winchester is the heartbeat of American deer camps, the undisputed king of the thick woods. Not long ago, a box of Remington Core-Locked was a $20 bill and some change. Today, you're lucky to find a dusty box on the shelf behind a 1 box per customer sign. Hornady's fancy red-tipped loads are now commanding over $42, double what they were before the world went crazy. What's the deal? The recent explosion in state laws allowing straight-wall cartridges for hunting-turned-lever guns into the hottest tick in town. Marlin, Henry, and Winchester are buried in 6-month back orders. The problem is, unlike the 5.56 crowd, we lever gun guys depend almost entirely on American-made, brass-cased ammo. This makes the 3030 incredibly sensitive to copper prices and inflation. Even worse is the seasonal production. Factories usually only tool up for the 3030 in the spring. If a shipment of primers is a week late, that entire production run gets scrapped to make room for a government order, and the 3030 is out of luck until next year. If this is your medicine for the woods, don't wait. A single 20-round box could easily be pushing $70 a year from now. The 270 Winchester. There was a time when the 270 Winchester was the one round you could always count on finding. That time is over. Since it's built on the same case as the legendary 30-06, any problem with one bleeds directly into the other. A buddy who runs distribution in the Southwest told me that for every 10 cases of 6.5 Creedmoor he gets, he's lucky to see 1 case of 270. The prices tell the story. A box of 130-grain soft points that was $34 is now $46, a 35% jump. But the real pain is the loss of variety. Federal's affordable blue box Power Shock in 150 grain is a ghost, and Nosler has throttled production of their classic partition bullets. This pushes us toward the high-end stuff like the $69 AccuBond. It's simple manufacturing logic. When raw materials cost a fortune, factories aren't going to waste time on smaller runs. They're going to crank out what sells fastest. The new hotness like the 6.5 precision rifle cartridge. The 270, a long-action classic, is being treated like a second-class citizen. Once a go-to, it's quickly becoming a rare find. The 243 Winchester. On the surface, the 243 Winchester seems safe. It's a do-it-all cartridge for deer and varmints. But this one is deceptively vulnerable. Come spring, the coyote hunters clean out all the 55-grain polymer-tipped loads, leaving nothing but empty hooks for the deer hunters in the fall. The real problem is in the components. Many of the newer, lead-free loads use clean-burning primers, which require a little something called gallium. Guess who controls the world's gallium supply? China. And they've slashed exports in half. Furthermore, the 243 uses large rifle primers hardened with antimony to handle the pressure. With Chinese antimony exports choked off, manufacturers are in a triage situation. According to a recent earnings call from Vista Outdoor, traditional cartridges like the 243 Winchester won't see anything close to normal availability until at least the first quarter of 2026. Wait too long, and you'll be kicking yourself. What used to be a $60 purchase for 3 boxes is now well over $100, and it's only going up. The 30-06 Springfield. And finally, Granddad's rifle. The 30-06 Springfield. This is the one that hurts. It's the backbone of American hunting, and it's always the first to disappear when things get tight. Those bulk boxes of 150-grain soft points for under $1 a round are a distant memory. Now, finding a single box of Winchester for $62 feels like a victory. The reason is simple: priority. Ammunition plants are running around the clock churning out 7.62 by 51mm NATO and 6.5 Creedmoor from military contracts. Old workhorses like the 30-06 are an afterthought. Reloaders are feeling it the worst. Lake City surplus brass is gone. Primers might as well be solid gold. The real killer is the uncertainty. You have no idea when a next truck will show up. Dealers are already saying their next shipment won't land until after elk season. That's a huge problem for the millions of hunters still using the rifles passed down to them. My advice? Get what you need now. Aim for 100 rounds for hunting and 200 for the range. That used to be an easy afternoon purchase. Now, it's a $300 plus investment and a week of phone calls. So, if you shoot any of these classics, don't wait for a headline to tell you what's happening. The writing is on the wall. Stock up now while you still can. Stay sharp and stay stocked, my friends.